Greetings and welcome to the energy of Sagittarius. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. So, this is regarding essentially a stellium in November that opens up a portal to your 10th and 11th houses. It's the sort of gap in between, the cusp of the 10th and the 11th houses. Okay, what are conjunct in the stellium are the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the South Node in Scorpio. Okay, and this is an interesting stellium in that it squares up to the Moon's energy. Okay, for the opening of November, and it actually creates another square with the 5th house in opposition to the 11th. Okay. So this has to do with a transformation, essentially, of your reality when it comes to friends, when it comes to networks that are outside of your most immediate environment, when it comes to your workplace, how you deal with reality, how you deal with money, or perhaps your purpose, your career, your dreams, your ambitions in terms of Scorpio's energy, okay? Which is interesting considering that there is a deep intensity and a transformational agency that is tied to your 10th and 11th houses. And with Mercury being here conjunct Venus, there's an interesting way to see deep insights that have to do with past karmas that need to be transformed in order to provide a sense of stability, okay, especially emotional stability. So the thing is that with the Moon opening up in on the 1st of November in your 2nd house, conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, okay, that's right here, essentially there's a great deal having to do with your own creative and sort of emotional depth, okay? With it being in Aquarius, there is a natural tendency for Sagittarians to essentially deal with reality by having another, okay? Meaning that if you're on one timeline, Sagittarius has the sort of capacity to explore in a mutable fashion through the arrow of Jupiter, essentially any other potential realities. You're somewhat sort of in between spaces when it comes to one reality and the next, okay? And it's interesting because there may be a way to find a creative responsibility that is negotiating the axis of your 5th and 11th houses with the North Node and Uranus conjunct in Taurus, challenging the stellium in Scorpio, okay? So this is a time when Venus is an opposition of Uranus. There's a lot of instability when it comes to the 5th house issues, so education, as well as children, as well as creativity, romance, pleasure, because it's in Taurus and Uranus in retrograde, opposite Venus, which is Taurus's, a ruler. There's an interesting dynamic where this is a short period, essentially, in the month of November, in the opening of the month of November, in which there may be difficulty in stabilizing one's efforts, especially when it comes to survival instinct, okay? The ability to essentially ground oneself and then sublimate all of that grounded energy, all of that workload into something more transcendent in nature, or more fueled by depth and action in depth. So it's an interesting time. Your ruler, which is Jupiter, is currently in retrograde in the 3rd house, at least for the early month of November, conjunct Neptune in retrograde in Pisces in your 3rd house, okay? So with this, essentially, the way you communicate, the way you learn through your friends is going to help you to transform a new way to bring forward new fertile earths or new fertile realities to jump to. So they will be your most generous benefactors, especially if you're dealing with siblings who have latent dreams or are having insights in their own reality. If you have friends or close associates, fellow workers, colleagues. And what I'm seeing here is also because Jupiter is in Pisces in retrograde, there's a great deal of abstraction that is going on now that may cloud or may sort of be difficult to actually understand the actions of primarily your friends, especially on the way they actively seek out your own dreams, your ambitions, your own visions. It's very interesting considering that people who are significant to you will have actions that are based on duplicity and multiplicity. They are actions in which they are trying to do something in order to have any effect so that they can learn from them, okay? And it activates essentially your descendant, your 7th house, okay? Which triggers, in turn, the 3rd house. So there's a clash between significant others, okay? Soulmates or karmic relationships, whatever, between them and your friends, okay? And trying to understand and negotiate between those two is the key here. Yeah, so there's a lot of vocal, behavioristic sort of impulses that are squaring up, and it's very difficult to find a way to harmonize in terms of friends and relationships. But if you were to actually work hard on transformations of wealth, on converting forms of wealth, what you can hold, into something else, or look to your family structures, there's something that mother and father figures can show you in terms of their own blocks with your manifestation of shared or collective friend networks, and trying to understand how your dreams, your ambitions may be changing according to the current sort of sky, okay? Now we shall move into the tarot generator. This is a 9-card spread known as the Great Mirror. I was able to shuffle this 9 times, but just for good measure, I think we should shuffle 3 more times to get to the 12. Okay. So interesting. When it comes to a significant other, there are certain karmas that are happening on conscious and subconscious realms, okay? And this may not be for every Sagittarius out there, but for this channel, this is what's going on in terms of Sagittarius dealing with a significant other, soulmate or karmic partner or whatnot. Even a deep friend or a mother or father figure, someone, who may be insignificant even. But for this month in particular, there's a lot that has to do with your own activation of Aquarius, okay, which is actually your 2nd house. So you're dealing with your most immediate realities, and there's a sort of there's a fixed way of not really taking initiative. And this is possibly something that they are mirroring as well. You are meeting an equal this month in which both of you are governed by Saturn and Uranus, okay? That is Aquarian energy, and are influenced on a stellar level by essentially this dynamic. The thing is that you're going to have an activation in terms of this, of seeing this person as a friend or someone who represents a type of dream or an influence. They're an influence on you somehow, and your perception of them is mirrored in that the same energy that the star inhabits in this light that comes between the Virgin's hands. She's in the water. She's holding and raising up essentially this light, okay? But she's also being influenced by it on an emotional level, but also in terms of air, the element of air, primarily with this particular tarot deck. And you are being influenced by the sequence of rods, okay? You hang up upon the rods, upon a tree, and there's something about you that also has the halo of light around you, behind you, influencing your vision in that you are facing away from the ascendant to the descendant. You're looking towards something that is beyond the sun's energy on the eastern horizon, towards the west. Okay, so there is a futuristic way of dealing with this type of relationship. My guess is that both of you, through Saturn, through the devil's energy, there is a type of bond between you two that links you two, but it's more on the etheric level. It's more based on some sort of other design that could be solar in nature, or it can be about lightness, this type of connection. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you don't really have to do much in this. There's a lot of influence through Saturn in this type of relationship on a conscious level. I think if you give it time, both of you, there could be something that amounts to it. But be careful, because this type of time is binding. It's a type that even if you don't do much, you would actually benefit from it greatly. But there is a type of like a tying energy to it. There's a binding energy to it. So you have to be careful what you say or think about this person. But the future is here. There's a lot that has to do with the future. 10 of Cups, 2 of Cups is here. There's a lot of love, but then also the difference is interesting. There's a lot of questioning, but I think by the time of eclipse season, there will be some sort of depth or clarity in all of this. Cancer is being activated during the eclipse season for you. That may activate Lilith or Vertex, which should allow for some sort of transformational agency in the way you approach this situation. With the cardinal energy of Cancer moving forward and ascending in a way, the challenges of the spiritual path, there's something that needs to be let go in order for this connection to work. Also, what I'm seeing here is a great deal of self-knowledge and self-worth that comes through this type of relationship. There are a lot of 10s here, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, a lot of goodness in terms of the subconscious realm. But there also is the need to honor what is going on in terms of a transformation for one person to find the path through the other. And there also is the 8 and the 7 of Wands, possibly the 9 of Wands. There's a realm of experience here that is coming about, that has to do with essentially great intuition, great knowledge about what needs to be had ultimately in this type of situation. This could deal with work, this could deal with fate, some sort of path or calling in terms of work or fate. And it has to do with family, or perhaps some sort of legacy when it comes to bringing forward the Ace of Cups for you, especially here. So I see nothing but good in this situation, and I do wish you well in terms of this month, and I'll see you next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.